Hey y'all, I'm so excited. I'm gonna start with I don't know, I'm just gonna start, no specific order. I'm just gonna pick up what I got. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first book is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. It is described as a supernatural thriller horror book, and it is about a nanny of a 5-year-old little boy whose drawings become concerning, hinting to supernatural and murder. Yeah, and she seems to be the only one trying to figure this shit out. So this is something I'm looking forward to reading. I'm not in a rush to read this though, I'm not gonna lie. I just wanted to pick up some horror books, and that I did. We have On Sunday She Picked Flowers. This is by Yaya Schofield. This is described as a gothic horror fantasy novel. It is about Judith, who escapes her childhood home and her abusive mother with no plan and ventures off into the forest, and she finds a home that happens to be haunted. But she embraces it and even becomes a healer until one day her peace is threatened by a desirable stranger. So I look forward to reading this as well. A brief pause. I try to make the I can't even think straight, y'all. It's ADHD. I told y'all, bear with me. Ugh. We're gonna land this plane eventually, okay? I try to take the summaries of the books and put them and just make them a little quick and a little brief and a little easy to absorb, so to say. Because if not, I will continue to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and we will fly this plane around the planet twice, okay? So yeah, see, I was about to do it again. The next book is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. This is described as a fantasy, literary, and speculative fiction novel. It is African mermaids. That's what I got. That's what I got, African mermaids, and they got me from there. So we're gonna see. But it is about an oceanic society of descendants birthed from the unborn children of enslaved women that were thrown overboard, and that's just a lot to unpack. That's a lot to unpack. And a girl who struggles bearing the memory of those people and her people, so much so that she has escaped to the surface to discover a world that they all left behind. So I also got The Exes by Leodora Darlington. This is a thriller, one of my favorite type of reads. It follows a girl named Natalie, her current husband, in a marriage she's desperately trying to maintain, along with 3 of her exes that she may or may not have harmed. I don't know, we'll see. But it follows her secrets and the life that she's trying to bury showing up to interrupt her new life, and we go on that journey like that. So I look forward to reading this one too. I am a sucker for a good thriller. Yeah. And we have Kin by Tayari Jones. All these books are so beautiful, but besides the point, this is described as a literary and historical fiction novel. It takes place in the Jim Crow South in Louisiana at that. It follows 2 motherless children who happen to be neighbors and best friends, one of which who was raised by her aunt after her mother died, and the other whose mother abandoned her. One who goes to Atlanta for college and discovers a community of affluent Black women and men, and she sets root and grows there, while the other goes on a journey to find answers to her life and to find her mother, and has a bit more of a complicated adventure. I look forward to seeing this in their stories and how everything turns out. Literate by Oweke Imezi. This is described as a dark literary contemporary fiction novel taking place in Nigeria. It follows a guy who recently split from his long-term partner, a sex party he goes to, and some wild decision he makes that catapults him, his best friend, his ex, and 2 sex workers into a weekend filled with chaos. And I look forward to seeing what that is about. Got some romance, some Kennedy Ryan. I got the Skyland series. So the first book, Before I Let Go. It seems to be a story of reuniting, and it follows a once married couple who never really stopped loving each other even when everything fell apart, and them seeing whether or not their love can really withstand the test of time. We have This Could Be Us. I think that this is the second book. I have to double check. Maybe I should have did that before I recorded. But yeah. Anywho, this seems to be about newfound love, and we love that. It follows a woman who has experienced much betrayal in her love life and really hasn't had any time to heal because she is a mommy. Mamacita. So she pushes forward and embarks on a journey of self-discovery when she meets a man that really shakes things up. Can't get enough. This is a romance about forbidden love, it seems. That's what they said. It follows a very ambitious and goal-oriented woman who also happens to be a caretaker of an aging parent, and she just doesn't have time for love until she meets a man that she just might not be able to live without. I like stories like this. So this is a dark academia fantasy novel, Maggie Gray by Granger. Representation. Like, they're black. Everyone's black. You're black. You're black. You're black. You're black. You might be black. Anywho, it follows Maggie Gray, who is a college student, and for one of her presentations, she is telling the stories of her grandmother, the stories her grandma passed down to her about these myths and folklores and all that. So she thinks, until her professor sends her on a journey to an underground university in Atlanta that shows her that all these myths, all these stories were true. And last but certainly not least, because I'm excited to read all these books, but I think I might be most excited to read this one, so much so that I'm not going to read it right now. I am going to sit on it, and I am going to hold off. I might read 2, maybe 3 books before I read this one, because I just already don't want it to be over. Yeah, I just got a feeling in my gut, you know? So yeah, this is Ours by Philip B. Williams. This is described as a historical fiction and literary fiction novel. It has elements of speculative fiction and black surrealism and magic, and I'm so excited. This is described as a historical and literary fiction with themes of speculative fiction, magic, black surrealism, and all those things. I'm so excited. This book follows a conjure woman named Saint that goes all around Arkansas freeing enslaved people, leading them to a town that she's created and protected by her own magic called Ours. I believe this book is over decades, so it takes place over several decades, and one day her memories and her magic betrays her, making the town and all its people susceptible to intruders. That happen to have powers of their own, and that entire journey also makes the people of that community question whether or not the town is just another form of slavery itself. Super excited, and yeah, I hope maybe something that I got interests you all and y'all pick it up. But I also really need help to know what should I read next. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards Ken, but I don't know. Let me know. What are you guys reading? What do you think I should read? What do you think I should pick up? I literally made notes for all the books, trying to let you guys know what they were about, who they were about, trying to let y'all know something without having to read the back of the book. And even that was tough, because the ADHD mind, it forgets, and it wanders near and far. So finally we land this plane. Hopefully you guys will embark on another journey with me soon. Bye.
Someone once told me the grass is much greener on the other side.